and TV 21. Let's talk etiquette. I am so glad to be back with you this running, and I want to ask you at this time, would you call a friend or neighbor and let them know that Let's Talk Etiquette is back on the air, and the dynamic duo are together again. Our topic of discussion today is incivility, the new incivility, the new political standards in American presidential campaigning, name calling, mudslinging, character assassination, insults, backbiting. Whatever happened to standards of decency? I know you agree with me that things have taken a low. So I want to hear from you. So please call in. And at this time, I would like to introduce to some, and to some who already know him, that awesome man, Mr. Nathan Wright, the historian, the artist, the father, the mentor. There's so much more that he wears so many hats. But I welcome you, Mr. Wright, to Let's Talk Etiquette.
Wow, we're back again. Isn't it wonderful?
It is awesome.
God is great. God is good. He's allowed us to come back and be together again and share on this awesome subject.
Yes.
What a subject. I feel like have the greatest subject of all subjects.
Yes, incivility, because it's something that's been lost and needs to be rebirthed, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I know some of you out there feel the same way. So call in and let us know your opinions, your comments, your concerns, and your suggestions. Okay? Our phone number is 312-738-1060. Okay. Again, 312-738-1060. Let's jump right in.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Mr. Wright, we've discussed this presidential campaign between us.
Yes.
But now I think it needs to be discussed on the air.
Yes. Somebody needs to talk about it.
Right. I mean, Mr. Wright, you are a mentor, a father, a grandfather, a historian, an accomplished artist. And you've experienced life.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a presidential campaign like the one we're having now?
No. And I hate to give my age out, but I go back to the Eisenhower campaign, the Nixon first run for president against John F. Kennedy in 1960. So I have never seen the kind of, on the national level, not on the local level. We have a history here in Illinois of doing some kind of scurrilous things in our political campaigning. But on the national level, we represent the free world. We represent democracy all over the world. And here we are putting on a comedy show. I mean, really.
I don't want to laugh, but
it's unbelievable.
But to some, it may appear to be a comedy show, but those of us that live in Chicago and that are conscious of what's going on,
yes,
it's actually an embarrassment.
It is. I mean, for the highest office in the land, the president is the highest office in the land, and there should be some respect for the office. And we have not seen any of it in this 6-8 month run for that office. It is incivility at its highest degree. It's just, and I think, Sandra, you know, our children are picking up these kinds of negative messages, and they are acting just like our politicians are acting in many respects. And so they're not setting a good example. They're setting an awful example for our children to emulate and to see as role models. And when you call people out of their names and you disrespect them and you talk about their wives and just unbelievable things that has nothing to do with running the government.
Yes, that's true. I have to say, I've seen things that has made my mouth fly open. I've heard things on I just cannot believe it, you know, because I've never seen anything like this. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. And Mr. Wright isn't the only one. that has
No.
never seen it at this all-time low.
Right.
And Mr. Wright, it seems to be a great lack of civility and respect for one another.
Yes.
Okay, I
Yes.
believe we have a caller.
Ah.
Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, the devil had to be the first caller.
Oh, no, that's not the devil. That's our great friend there.
I want to make my point real quick.
Yes.
You talk about the presidency is the highest office of the land. Not too long ago, there was a comedian at the White House called the president the N-word. And we got a situation where now when something was abnormal, or something that was abnormal, or something was in bad taste, how it wound up being something good and good taste and it wound up being normal now?
That's the question we're asking, and we're raising this question. The Etiquette Foundation of Illinois is certainly ashamed to see and hear what has been said, and it makes us feel really bad because it isn't necessary to use that kind of language to.
And I'm just going to
these
make
kind of
one last
references.
comment.
And it's just it's a disgrace to the office. At the very least, it's a disgrace to the office. And we are in this particular endeavor to promote civility, to promote etiquette, to promote good behavior. And
Can I make one last comment real quick?
Yes, go ahead.
There are societies, civilizations, that don't have all this modern technology and stuff and probably living in some place like the Amazon, and guess what? They are more civilized than people that have all this technology and stuff, and they can welcome you home in terms of hospitality.
Yes.
Take care.
I agree.
And I want to make
Good
a comment. Right, and I want to make a comment. I do agree with you. We haven't just seen a disrespect for the office of the president since this president election's been going on. There was a lack of respect for the president when President Obama was elected to office. It seems like it's a downward spiral, and it's gone to the bottom, in my opinion. And only thing I can see and hope that it will come back up. And that's why we're talking about it. And I thank you, caller, for your call. And I totally agree with you.
Yes, I do. I do as well. He has a great point there. They have not showed respect for the office since the president is an African American, and that's a shame in itself. But it's going even further. We don't know if the top is driving the bottom or the bottom is driving the top. I mean, our children are doing some awful, disrespectful, uncivil things every day. We see it, we hear it, and it's because they lack an education in etiquette.
Yes, because when you have an education in etiquette, you have respect, you have manners, you have morals, and you're disciplined in your
Yes.
behavior and in your speech and your conduct.
Yes.
But if you lack those skills, anything can come out of your mouth. You might do anything. You may act in any certain manner because you lack those skills. And that's why we're pushing that our children be educated and receive a social education.
Yes.
Thank you. I believe we have another caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, good evening, and it is so glad to see y'all guys back.
That
We
sounds
truly
like a familiar
missed y'all.
voice.
Listen, Mr. Wright, you know what it is? They did the same thing with Obama, Harold Washington, when he was in, but yet and still, it was just a small little thing. It was more I don't know how to say the word, but it was more of other people did not like a black man in office, and they did all kinds of things. So when President Obama got in, next thing you know, you start hearing the same thing instead of Obama. And you don't hear President Obama or Michelle. I like to hit that and all that kind of stuff. But yet still, what you was asking at the beginning, mudslinging and all of that, we used to say so much where we hear kids, you're out in the streets, you hear all of that, but yet still, there was hitting adults felt the same way and did the same thing as kids did. Now this man Trump come out, what he did was bring the roaches out. He brought all the people that
I haven't heard it put that way.
like
That's a good
him.
way.
I mean, feel just like him. And now that's why they gathered in like fleas. And but yet and still we living in what's this 2016?
Yes.
People still hate us. People still hate. They go blame eventually. They go blame President Obama for the reason why Lincoln got killed pretty soon. Everything that's being done for a black person, they going to keep on want to knock. But yet and still, I could imagine Donald Trump as our president. I don't think that he will survive too long. And I hate to say that. But getting back to the beginning, the thing is, people, don't change. Don't change yourself. You see people want to be just like, I saw an old man wearing his pants hanging down. I'm quite sure you wasn't doing that till they start saying young people. Well, you don't have to do what the other people doing. Stay as you are, and good things will come. Matter of fact, other people will see you doing something. You might get a few other people do what you're doing. Listen, I have truly missed y'all guys. I think y'all are the best show on. I know what time you could be on now, so I'm going to make sure I tune in on this time. And I see Brother Joe Carroll, so maybe he might change this year. So let me get out the air because I don't want to take the whole show. But again, it's so good to see y'all guys back.
Yes.
Y'all take care.
All right,
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Wonderful comment.
Wonderful. Yes, and it's all true again.
Yes.
Unfortunately, things are the way they are. And the only thing we can do is try to come back from there. And I know you said you saw this man, this older man with his pants hanging down. And what we need to realize is that we teach by example.
Yes.
And when the young people look at us, that's what they see. That's what they're going to mimic. Some of them may not have parents or guardians, but they could see a neighbor, an associate, someone at work, being a gentleman, being a lady, and they will copy that. And that's what we need to remember. Every time we're out, every time we're in front of somebody, we are teaching. Yes. And what do you want to teach? What message do you want to send?
Yes.
Because one day you're going to leave here. But you do want to know that you left some good stuff, so a legacy with some young people that can carry it on to their children and their children's children. Yes. So remember that. The next time you think about doing something out of order, just remember, somebody's watching you. Absolutely. And you really should be the example, and you should mind your manners.
Absolutely.
That's all I wanted to say about that.
Yes,
but I thank you for your call, Steve, and it's good to hear from you.
Yes.
And glad to know that you're going to be calling us again.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Wright, have you seen such a lack of civility between the candidates?
Well,
I mean,
I'm just appalled at what I have witnessed, and it's really unbelievable that we're having this kind of politicking, and apparently there's a segment of the American electorate who supports it. Obviously they support it. They're not denouncing it, and that's the shocking part of it. It's not being denounced by the voter. The voters are going in the polls, and I understand they feel so left out. They feel so betrayed. And they have, a big block of the Republican voters feel very betrayed by previous Republicans in office. And they're ready for anything other than the establishment. And we know what that all represents, the establishment.
Yes.
And the Republican Party rejected all of the establishment candidates for anything, and even one who is crude and uncivil as I don't call his name. I'm sure we know who we're talking about. As that individual is. But I want to just go back for a few minutes on the show just to get back to the local level, and I know that there was a comment made by the new superintendent of police, Superintendent Johnson, about parenting and the responsibility of parents. Would you like to just kind of chime in on that for a minute?
Yes, I would. The new superintendent said that he believed crime would be down if parents would do more parenting. And I have to tell you, I certainly agree with him. Because our children are watching us. You're their first teacher, and your home is their first school. So what are they learning from you?
Yes.
What example are you showing them?
Yes.
And whatever that is, good or bad, that's what they're going to do. There's been some terrible things that have been happening in our city as far as violence and crime. And to hear the latest story, I don't know all the ins and outs about it, but I understand from what I heard on the news that a parent encouraged their child to take a weapon. Now, how could we do that? That's our child, and we're jeopardizing their life and somebody else's child's life.
Yes.
So we really have to get back to being parents, teachers. And it doesn't matter if they're your children, you birthed them or not.
Right.
They're all of our children.
Yes.
And that's how we've got to see it if we want to see a change. Because it does take a village to raise a child.
Yes.
And we are the village.
Yes.
Are you doing your part?
Yes. Yes.
Think about it. Please.
And I commend the new superintendent.
Yes.
If he was sincere about doing something, becoming more proactive about what parents are doing and not doing and what their responsibilities are, that will go a long ways in curtailing the kind of antisocial behavior and violence that we are witnessing every day in this city.
Yes. I believe we have a caller. Caller, you're on the air.
You know, one quick, the problem is, and you said it too, the village might not be as strong as it was as when I came up, because parenting, you got to have some kind of skill to give on to your child, and a lot of them don't. But there are many people on the block or the neighborhood know these children, know these kids, and they should be able to say, Tommy, come here, let me tell you something, and whatnot. And believe it or not, don't be scared, because Tommy and a few groups were going to come and listen if you got something to talk about. But if you're talking about foolishness, it just shows you that person did not have any skills to give. So that's the problem. I remember it was a caller used to say, let's put the parenting back in school. They need to be taught and might be a little bit better. Here I go again, so let me get out to here.
Okay.
Let me hear your response.
And you know what, Steve? I thank you. I do agree with that.
Yes.
The parents do. Some of them do need instructions and help and support.
You teach parents.
I teach parents, and I think what's going on there is some of our parents have not had anyone to teach them.
Right. Yeah.
So therefore, they can't pass on that what wasn't passed to them. Now, we may not have educational skills, but we all know right from wrong.
Yes.
We all know manners. We all know how to be polite. We all know how to be courteous.
Know. We
should know. Now, that's if we know, but it doesn't mean we want to do it.
Yes.
You know, I have to make a very short comment today. I was in a store, and I wanted to purchase a watermelon, and they were humongous. And I was just standing there wondering, how am I going to pick this watermelon up, you know? And this young man walked up to me, and he said, which one do you want? I said, wow, thank you. We do still have some good people out there, some young people.
Yes.
Let's continue to encourage them, that they would encourage others, okay?
And one other thing, too, you're doing a parenting class tomorrow, are you not?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm teaching some parents tomorrow.
How to teach their children manners.
Up on the Upper West Side of Chicago. Yes. Caller, you're on the air.
I'm going to disagree with you 150% based on experience, based on scientific studies. It does not take a village to raise a child. It takes at least one competent parent in that child's life. We need to stop having these programs that people try to have to come in somewhere where to take the place of a parent. We need to have, being a parent, the bottom line is some things you got to figure it out.
Well, I would like to maybe start first on that comment.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Wright.
The reason it's important to have that comment, it takes a village to raise a child, is because the village is all of the citizens in that community.
Yes.
And we all have to be on the same page when it comes to raising not only our children, but also raising the child down the street who may be influencing our child to do something antisocial or negative. And so we have to be on the same page with the lessons that we teach our children. We can't all have individual lessons in manners and morals. We have to have an agreement on the basics. It's like math. 2 plus 2 equals 4. If my child learns 2 plus 2 equals 4, then the child down the street learns
Yes.
2 plus 2 equals 4. Then they all come up with an agreement that 2 plus 2 equals 4.
Yes, and
that's the key to it.
And you're right. And the other part of that is, today our children are facing things that some of us never faced at their age.
Through
And
social media.
Through social media and other things. And the other thing about that too, a parent, now it takes two people to probably run the household. They may both be working. You might be a retired person living in the neighborhood, and you might see something this child is doing that you know that is inappropriate, and you can intervene and give them some counseling. See, a parent's eyes can't always be in every place.
That's so true.
I really wish that we would get that message, that it's not just one person, it's not just one child, it's not just this person's child, they're our children.
Yes.
And because we know better and we see what's going on, it would be a tragedy if we didn't say anything or do anything.
Absolutely.
And that's for everybody. If you see something, if you know you could talk to this child and you've led a respectable life before this child, and this child is not yours, but this child respects you, then you can get his or her attention, and you can talk and you can intervene.
Yes, and that was a time when Steve and I remember very well. If there was some kind of argument going on the street among us, that would be an adult come in and intervene in that conversation and prevent us from, if we look like we're going to have a fight or something, some adult would come in and stop it.
Right. Go
and
home.
Now the adults are afraid to say anything.
Right.
And some kids get killed because we don't step up and stop things we see that are not going on correctly.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So that's important. It takes that village to take responsibility for their children.
Because I remember my dad worked and my mom didn't have to work, but once I was outside on the streets or at school or someplace else, she couldn't see what I was doing. But you better believe, here come Miss Johnson coming from the grocery store. Do your mother know you over here? Do your mother know you hanging out with these girls? No, Miss. I'm getting ready to go home now, Miss Johnson. And you better believe. She said, "I bet you are getting ready to go home." And I was hightailing it home too. And not only did she reprimand me, but she told my mother what I did. That I was in the wrong place, and she felt that I was in a place that I could get in trouble. So she let me know about it.
We can step up and intervene to stop a lot of the things that's going on in our community. So we need to do that as adults and as members of that community. I think you have a caller.
I have a caller calling you on the air.
Hi, how are you tonight?
Fine, how are you?
Good. I'd like to, what are some of the things that you teach in your class to parents? Can you give me some highlights?
Oh, sure. I teach them how to be the role model for their children. I teach them about manners. I teach them about morals and dress, because sometimes our dress speaks volumes. I teach discipline. I teach classes that the parents that they would reinforce to their children. I teach them about their speech, their conduct, their behavior, the respect for the adults in their school, the respect for the adults in their home and their community. Respect is at the top of my curriculum list, because if you don't have self-respect, you cannot respect anybody else. So that's big on my list. And there's a number of other subjects, and if you would like to contact us and get further information, you can definitely reach out to the Etiquette Foundation of Illinois.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Caller, you still there?
No, wait.
Okay. All righty. Well, Mr. Wright, I know you can't believe it,
Yes.
but our show is over.
It's over so fast.
It was so fast and so short.
We're just getting started.
I know, just warming up, right?
Yes.
Because we have so much more to say. But I tell you what, the good thing about it is You can tune in next week at the same time, and we will be here with another awesome subject for you. Please call a friend, call a neighbor, and put this on your schedule. I must watch Let's Talk Etiquette on Thursday at 7 o'clock so you don't miss us, because we're looking for you here. Okay? Have a nice weekend and enjoy yourself this weekend. Stay safe. Teach someone. Be an example to someone. And before I close, I'd like to thank this awesome man, Mr. Nathan Wright, for being my co-host and being here with me. It would be very difficult to host this show without him. So I know you appreciate him as much as I do. And I'll just say good night on that note.
Good night.